Hi, welcome to Story Time with Gigi. Today we're reading a Halloween story called A Big Night in Booville. This story was written by Slade Stone and illustrated by John Jordan and Jerry Brent Dillingham. It's a big night in Booville, cheered Wilson as he hopped out of bed. And it was Halloween. But more importantly, much more importantly, it was Wilson's birthday. Wilson straightened his wraps. Then, in the wee hours of the morning, he hurried over to Frank Jr.'s house. Frank Jr. was his best friend. No one called him Jr. No one called him Frank. He was Frank Jr. No one questioned Frank Jr. He was the smartest kid in Booville. "Hey, tonight's a big night," exclaimed Wilson when Frank Jr. opened the door. "Indeed," said Frank Jr. "It's a night of shenanigans and sweet confections and—" "No, started Wilson. "He means tricks and treats," Frank Jr.'s sister came waltzing up to the door. "I don't know why you use such big words, Frankie." "It's Frank Jr., if you please," her brother stated. "Okay, Frank Jr., Mr. Smarty," Francine smirked. "Well, hello, Wilson. You look frightfully handsome for Bouville's big night." Wilson stood up straight. "Why, thank you. I didn't know you knew this was a big night." "Big night? It's the best night!" exclaimed Francine. "It's the most glamorous, spookiest, screamiest night of the year." "Well, I don't know about that," said Wilson, blushing all the way through his wrappings. Oh, look at his blush. "After all," said Francine, smoothing her hair, "it's Halloween, and I'll have the best costume, of course." "Oh, of course, Halloween," Wilson said droopily. "That's why it's a big night." Wilson stayed and played creepy crawly cards and roll the knuckles with Frank Jr. all day. And not once did Frank Jr. say happy birthday to Wilson. It was definitely time to go. "Say, what are you going to be, tonight, Frank Jr.?" asked Wilson. "I've decided to don the look of a mad scientist. That way I can wear the new wig I created out of polymorpho fibers. It glows in the dark. What are you going as?" "I don't know," sighed Wilson. "Maybe a ghost, maybe a fish. I better go home and think about it. I'll see ya." "Goodbye. I'll see you tonight for Halloweening," called Frank Jr. "I'll see you too, Wilson." "I'll be with Frankie," sang out Francine. "It's Frank Jr.," her brother grumbled. Wilson kicked a bone down the sidewalk. "My very best friend. Ha! My best friend forgot this is my birthday. How could anyone forget that my birthday is Halloween? Every year my friends throw me a party, and here it is, the very day, the big day, and no party plans." "Hey, Wilson!" Wilson looked up. Here came Denton at full speed on his super speedy racing bike. To Wilson's horror, Denton was coming straight at him. He closed his eyes. Screech! Wilson peeped out. There was Denton, smiling at him. "Hey, bandage brain," said Denton. "You know, it's a big night in Booville." Wilson perked up. "Yes, it is." "Yeah, man, it's the night my dad lets me stay up till 2 o'clock and feed the bats." "Oh, yeah," sighed Wilson. "That sure is a big night." He watched Denton zip off down the sidewalk. Bigger than my night will be, he said to himself. Wilson sat down on the grass and wiped his eyes. Then he did what he always did when he needed to think. He wrote himself some notes. He felt lonely and forgotten. Wasn't there anyone who remembered that this was his birthday? Rattle clink, rattle clink. Just then Kate skipped over and plopped down next to Wilson. "Why, Wilson," she said sweetly, "what are you doing here? It's going to be a big night in Booville, you know." "Yes, I know," said Wilson quietly. "It's Halloween, a night of tricks and treats and candy and howls and growls and catching bats." Kate giggled. "Oh, silly, it's a much bigger night than that. I know a great secret. Come on, and I'll show you. You won't want to miss out on this." Wilson got up and followed Kate. "I really just want to go home," he told her. "Well, okay, I'll walk you home, and then I'll show you the secret." Wilson walked slowly behind Kate. "Who cares about her silly old secret?" he thought. "Even she forgot my birthday, and she's the nicest kid in Booville." As Wilson came up to his own front door, it slowly creaked open. And out popped a mad scientist, a movie star, and a wolf man. "Surprise! Happy birthday!" "That's the secret," giggled Kate. "We're throwing the party at your house this year." "Yeah, what took you so long?" said Denton. "Open your presents and cut the cake, then we can all go out trick-or-treating and scare the neighborhood." It was a wonderful party with streamers and cake and punch and presents to unwrap. Wow, it was a great big night in Booville. And that's our story. I hope you liked it. Make sure that you like and subscribe and share with your friends. Bye until next time.